America, land of the free, home of the brave. A nation built on hard work and success, and one of the mightiest superpowers the world will ever see. By 2015, however, these statements came off as blatantly false. In the years following the horrific attacks of September 11th and the Great Recession, America did not see itself unite together in the face of adversity. Instead, it sank into a state of moral degeneration and depravity, where hard-working citizens were looked down upon in favor of illegal migrants, and mentally ill hipsters masking their disease under the guise of social justice ran rampant.
False rape accusations discredit rape victims, which reinforces rape culture, which is part of patriarchy.
Terrorists not unlike those who willingly and gladly slaughtered nearly 3,000 people on 9/11 threatened our national security, waiting for a chance to strike fear in our hearts. Not only did the US government do nothing to prevent this, it actively enabled it. The country found itself choking on a stagnant economy and suppression of liberties under political correctness. The candidates for the 2016 presidential race highlighted everything that was currently wrong in America. Hillary Clinton, who remains burdened by scandal after scandal, was the poster child for political corruption. Bernie Sanders was a senile old communist who wanted to bring about the second coming of the USSR and fulfill Marx's vision on American soil. The Republican candidates, such as Ted Cruz and Jeb Bush, were nothing but reminders of how spineless the GOP was. All hope for saving this country seemed lost until June 16, 2015. Riding down a golden escalator with a crowd of eager supporters waiting, renowned business mogul and television celebrity Donald J. Trump delivered a landmark speech that would change the course of the race forever.
Our country needs a truly great leader, and we need a truly great leader now. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am officially running for President of the United States, and we are going to make our country great again.
Trump was immediately criticized for his candidacy. How could a celebrity who took up politics as a hobby win the presidency? He had made a previous attempt in 2000, but ended up failing due to internal struggles. Political pundits.
And we better be ready for the fact that he might be leading the Republican ticket next.
I know you don't believe that.
Okay, here we are. And which Republican candidate has the best chance of winning the general election?
Of the declared ones, right now, Donald Trump.
Fellow politicians.
Donald Trump is not going to be president of the United States.
Donald Trump will never be elected president of the United States.
And late-night comedy hacks who claim to have an understanding of politics believed Trump wouldn't last long.
You're not going to be president, all right?
Do it. Do it. Look at me. Do it. I will personally write you a campaign check now on behalf of this country, which does not want you to be president, but which badly wants you to run.
They were unready for the influx of support Trump would receive, and the stumpings ahead.
I would repeal and replace the big lie Obamacare. I will build a great, great wall on our southern border, and I will have Mexico pay for that wall. I will find the right guy. I will find the guy that's going to take that military and make it really work. Nobody will be pushing us around. I will immediately terminate President Obama's illegal executive order on immigration. So protect the Second Amendment, end Common Core, rebuild the country's infrastructure, renegotiate our foreign trade deals, reduce our $18 trillion in debt, and strengthen our military and take care of our vets.
Trump's promises drew the support of a vast number of Americans who wanted to see him make America great again. His enemies began criticizing him on everything
Donald Trump's presidential campaign has a new supporter, former Ku Klux Klan Grand Wizard David Duke.
Let's begin this half hour, though, with more on that controversial comment made by Donald Trump. In Iowa on Saturday, he told a group that John McCain's not a war hero. He's a war hero because he was captured.
Meanwhile, Donald Trump is supposedly running this giant business empire, but he's taken a few months off to run for president in his spare time while doing nothing on his business, and everything seems to be fine. I don't think he usually has to work very hard.
But this didn't stop Trump from skyrocketing in the polls, quickly becoming the GOP frontrunner and one of the most talked about presidential candidates in history. It was during the debate period where he penned many nicknames for his opponents.
I defined him. I gave him this term, low energy. I said he's a low energy individual. We do not need in this country low energy. Call him Lion Ted. Lion Ted, Lion Ted. What's your name? My name's Lion Ted Cruz. Little Marco, Little Marco. Crooked Hillary, fuck.
He called out the special interest groups that funded his opponents, proving that they served only the rich and elite, whereas he was fighting for the average American.
Donors, special interest, the people that are putting up the money. So it is. The RNC told us we have all donors in the audience, and the reason they're not loving me, the reason they're not loving me is I don't want their money. I'm going to do the right thing for the American public. I don't want their money. I don't need their money. And I'm the only one up here that can say that.
Trump's support only continued to rise. His rallies always filled vacancy, with thousands more left waiting outside, just to get a glimpse of the man who would be president.
Show them how many people come to these rallies. Turn them. Go ahead, turn them. Go ahead.
Despite what the establishment and media thought, his controversial comments only attracted more people to his side. Much of Trump's support came from an unlikely source, the internet. Tired of PC culture and its stranglehold on everything from video games to social media, various sites like 4chan and parts of Reddit backed the Donald. Using their power of what they called weaponized autism, they began making a variety of memes praising Trump and mocking his foes. This only intensified when Trump, passionate tweeter he is, retweeted a pro-Trump meme video.
Despite its impressive length, it's a nimble navigator, and some can be highly venomous.
All I'm doing is telling the truth.
Just like the tarantula it's killing, the centipede has two curved, hollow fangs, which inject paralyzing venom. This centipede is a predator.
I think you heard me. You're having a hard time tonight. Go back to Univision. Go ahead. Only Rosie O'Donnell.
Centipede.
You can't stump the Trump. Once that glorious moment occurred, the internet's romance with Trump was sealed. Prominent internet figures took notice, recognizing that one could not simply take down the Donald with such a powerful force behind him.
Did you honestly think that you could stomp the Trump? You are nothing to Donald, but just another shield to make fun of. He will stomp you with precision, the likes never before seen on this earth. If only you had known the kind of retribution attempting to stomp the Trump would bring down upon you, maybe you would have thought twice. But you couldn't, you didn't, and now you're paying the price.
Can't stump the Trump. Donald Trump is going to win. He's going to get the nomination.
The rest of the GOP candidates struggled to replicate Trump's success, spending more time on calling him a loudmouthed brute than on the issues.
You cannot insult your way to the presidency.
Donald Trump, and he's a con man. I mean, he's trying to convince voters that he's some sort of great leader and great conservative, great businessman. He's none of that. He's a failed businessman.
They found themselves unable to properly fight back against Donald, left at the mercy of his verbal massacre.
Excuse me, 1 second.
No.
I didn't want to get
you cannot take
more energy tonight. I like that.
Property from an elderly woman.
Let me talk. Quiet.
That's a matter of principle, and I'll tell you.
Biggest liar. You probably are worse than Jeb Bush. Don't worry about it, little Marco. I will.
All right, well, let's hear Big Don. Donald.
Don't worry about it, Don't worry about it, little Marco.
Jeb suffered the most. Being the son of one president and brother of another, he had big shoes to fill. Sadly, all he could do was flail about and offer nothing but guac bowls and pocket turtles.
Little speech, he walked over to me and gave me this little tortoise and said, slow and steady wins the race.
You just show me the turtle.
I give them out to kids.
You just have like a pocket full of turtles?
Slow, steady progress. That's what that means. I do have a bunch of turtles.
Are you serious?
I got the little baby Jesus, got my rosary beads, and I got 3 turtles.
His rallies were really low energy.
Signal that we're prepared to act in the national security interests of this country to get back in the business of creating a more peaceful world. Please clap.
Slap, 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 clap, clap, clap.
It was so bad that even Mama Bush found him pathetic.
Why don't you interrupt like the other people do?
I've gotten better at interrupting, Mom. Come on.
With all these events, the upcoming primary season looked to be the most interesting in history.
CNN makes 2 projections in New Hampshire. CNN projects that Donald Trump will be the winner of the New Hampshire Republican primary. CNN projects Donald Trump, the billionaire real estate magnate, will win the South Carolina Republican primary.
CNN is projecting that Donald Trump will be the winner of the Nevada Republican caucuses.
As the primary season went on, Donald Trump found himself sitting comfortably at the head of the pack. With the exception of Ted Cruz, who held his ground in several states, none of the other candidates could compete. Realizing that they stood no chance against the Donald, they began suspending their pitiful campaigns to prevent any further stumpings.
And so we will go home to New Jersey tomorrow morning. We will make a decision on our next step forward based upon the results that come in here completed here in New Hampshire.
You're not eating Oreos anymore.
The first notable suspension came from guac bowl merchant Jeb Bush.
But the people of Iowa and New Hampshire and South Carolina have spoken, and I really respect their decision. So tonight, I am suspending my campaign.
Next came based sleepy Doc Ben Carson, who took it like a champ and bowed out gracefully.
Maybe we should try this tomorrow.
Could I sit down right now and enjoy the rest of my life in complete luxury? Absolutely. But I can't do that knowing that the next generation is in trouble, and we will do everything we can to preserve the greatness of America.
Lil Marco dropped out not long after.
Let's dispel that Barack Obama doesn't know what he's doing. He knows exactly what he's doing. And while today my campaign is suspended, the fact that I've even come this far is evidence of how special America truly is.
Soon enough, it was Cruz and Kasich left against the Donald. In a last-ditch attempt to stump the Trump, they joined forces and declared themselves proud cucks. Cruz also went so far as to name Carly Fiorina, a candidate who was basically the Republican Hillary, but replacing the corruption with insanity, his vice president.
I have come to the conclusion that if I am nominated to be President of the United States, that I will run on a ticket with my vice presidential nominee, Carly Fiorina.
Sadly, it did nothing to slow the Trump train, and following a series of crippling defeats in the primaries,
Donald Trump, the billionaire real estate magnate, will win the Republican presidential primary in his home state of New York. Donald Trump will win the Pennsylvania Republican presidential primary. Donald Trump is the winner in Maryland. He wins the Republican presidential primary. Another win for Donald Trump in Connecticut. He will win the Republican presidential primary.
Donald Trump will add Rhode Island to his tally.
ABC News can project a decisive victory for Donald Trump.
Lion Ted was finally defeated.
And so, with a heavy heart, but with boundless optimism for the long-term future of our nation, we are suspending our campaign.
Kasich dropped out the next day, placing fourth in what had become a three-man race.
Lord has a purpose for me as he has for everyone. And as I suspend my campaign today, I have renewed faith, deeper faith, that the Lord will show me the way forward.
He then went to a nearby restaurant to drown out his sorrows in food, where he promptly ate himself to death. "17 had entered, and only one had left. As if by some miracle, Donald Trump had triumphed over the Republican establishment." At around the same time, and to the surprise of no one except for delusional Marxist Bernie bros, Hillary Clinton secured her place as the Democratic nominee, becoming the first woman in history to do so. An admirable achievement, woefully wasted on her. Not long after her victory, Sanders sold out and endorsed Clinton, ultimately betraying the massive base he had garnered.
She will be the Democratic nominee for president. And I intend to do everything I can to make certain she will be the next president of the United States.
Sorry kids, no refunds. The Republican National Convention took place 2 months after Trump's primary victory. It was here where the delegates officially cast their votes for him and proclaimed him the Republican presidential nominee.
Accordingly, the chair announces that Donald J. Trump, having received a majority of these votes entitled to be cast at the convention, has been selected as the Republican Party nominee for President of the United States.
Each day of the convention was themed after one of 4 promises Trump vowed to uphold. Make America safe again. Make America work again. Make America first again. And make America one again. All were key components of that ultimate goal to make America great again. And each day featured several speakers relating to the topic of the day. Among the speakers were bass Dr. Ben Carson.
When we elect a president, we need to use that power of reasoning to look at their history, their character, what kind of people they really are. It makes all the difference in the world for us. And it is going to be so critical right now. We must resist the temptation to take the easy way out and to passively accept what is fed to us by the politically elite and the media.
Sheriff David Clark.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to make something very clear. Blue lives matter in America.
Members of the Trump family.
More than party affiliation, I vote based on what I believe is right for my family and for my country. Sometimes it's a tough choice. That is not the case this time. As the proud daughter of your nominee, I am here to tell you that this is the moment and Donald Trump is the person to make America great again.
And Patricia Smith, mother of one of the soldiers Hillary left to die in Benghazi.
I blame Hillary Clinton personally for the death of my son. That's personally.
This ultimately culminated in Trump delivering an acceptance speech, where he reminded the world of his promises.
Friends, delegates, and fellow Americans, I humbly and gratefully accept your nomination for the presidency of the United States. Together, we will lead our party back to the White House, and we will lead our country back to safety, prosperity, and peace. We will be a country of generosity and warmth, but we will also be a country of law and order. The crime and violence that today afflicts our nation will soon, and I mean very soon, come to an end.
It was here the world was also introduced to a man who would become one of Trump's most stalwart allies, Mike Pence, aka the Silver Fox. Pence had served as the former governor of Indiana, the state that handed Trump his victory, and he was more than eager to join the Donald as his vice president.
Mr. Chairman, delegates, friends, and my fellow Americans, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I am deeply humbled by your confidence, and on behalf of my family, here and gone, I accept your nomination to run and serve as Vice President of the United States of America.
Like Trump and all who support him, Pence was quickly attacked by the Democratic propaganda machine known as the MSM. Also like Trump, Pence was immune to all these attacks, continuing to help Trump's campaign without issue. The convention also saw what would later be known as the final betrayal of Ted Cruz, another noteworthy speaker. Rather than swallow his pride and endorse Trump as the nominee, he drew ire for his belief that everyone in attendance, who were there to support Trump, to vote their conscience.
Stand and speak and vote your conscience. Vote for candidates up and down the ticket who you trust to defend our freedom and to be faithful to the Constitution.
El Rato sealed his own fate that night, his blasphemous words ultimately ruining his political career for the time being. Aside from some low-energy protesters, the RNC went off without a hitch. If only the same could be said of the DNC. The Democratic National Convention was held a week later in Philadelphia.
You will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Unlike the RNC, which featured proud supporters of Trump, the DNC consisted of a bunch of minorities meant to pander to demographics that Hillary would only mention for votes. Among them was Khizr, father of a slain soldier who died in the Iraq War, a war Hillary immensely supported, by the way.
Donald Trump consistently smears the character of Muslims. He disrespects other minorities, women, judges, even his own party leadership.
Also, he uses his son's memorial foundation to run a sex club. Tim Kaine, a squally-eyed senator from Virginia, announced that he had been selected as Clinton's VP.
For all of us who know that the brightest future for our country is the one that we build together, and for my friend Hillary Clinton, I humbly accept my party's nomination to be Vice President of the United States.
He also demonstrated how good he was at pandering to minorities by giving half his acceptance speech in Spanish.
Y allá aprendí los valores del pueblo, fe y familia y trabajo. Los mismos valores de la comunidad latina aquí en nuestro país. Somos americanos todos.
Chelsea Clinton also revealed how obsessed she was with dinosaurs, because we all know her mother is basically a living fossil.
As a kid, I was pretty obsessed with dinosaurs, and the day that my parents took me to Dinosaur National Park, finding Triceratops in the clouds, making up stories about what we would do if we ever met a Triceratops.
That is one big pile of shit.
Hillary's acceptance speech came afterwards, which was basically more Trump bashing, and vote for me, because I have a vagina.
Tonight, we've reached a milestone in our nation's march toward a more perfect union. The first time that a major party has nominated a woman for president. And you know what? If fighting for affordable child care and paid family leave is playing the woman card, then deal me in. He spoke for 70-odd minutes, and I do mean odd. I know more about ISIS than the generals do. No, Donald, you don't.
Whereas the RNC was relatively peaceful, the DNC found itself plagued by Bernie bros who had been betrayed by their glorious communist messiah. Bernie had endorsed Clinton only a few weeks before, but that didn't stop anti-Sanders propaganda from being sold at the gift shop. Notice how similar it looks to Nazi propaganda? Just look at the regret in his eyes.
Democrats.
Not helping matters was that, courtesy of emails released by WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange, it was revealed that the DNC had rigged the primaries in Hillary's favor. Bernie never stood a chance. DNC chairwoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz was forced to resign in disgrace as a result of the leak, but don't worry. She would earn a promotion as chairperson for the Clinton campaign.
Oh, there's a fucking surprise.
The convention not only marked the shattering of the glass ceiling, but also the shattering of the Democrat voter base. Many Bernie bros jumped on the Trump train, realizing that the Donald was their only chance at defeating the wicked witch of the left. At this point, the stakes were raised to innumerable heights. The fated duel between Clinton and Trump was drawing nearer and nearer, and both sides ramped up their efforts to ensure victory, or at least, one side tried to. While Trump had no problem maintaining the high energy from the primaries, which was now boosted thanks to people from the Sanders camp jumping on board, Hillary struggled to garner even small crowds. The MSM, who remained undyingly loyal to Clinton, did their best to downplay Trump's success and make Hillary seem more popular.
We'll see. We couldn't help her any more than we have.
I know.
You know, I mean, she's got just a free ride so far from the media.
This was especially hard to do, considering Trump held rallies almost daily, leaving Hillary to try and play catch up. She also ignored most of Middle America, mainly holding rallies in liberal strongholds along the coasts. Hillary would make a grave mistake, one that she would soon regret. She would give a speech that not only demonized Trump supporters as vile excuses for human beings, but would provoke the wrath of a god long since forgotten by mortal man. This god, manifested in the avatar of internet memes, would unleash its fury upon her in the form of a great plague, and bring about multiple circumstances that would do great damage to her campaign, if not sink it outright. Thus began the war on Pepe.
These are racist ideas, race-baiting ideas, anti-Muslim, anti-immigrant, anti-women, all key tenets making up the emerging racist ideology known as the alt-right. Now,
Pepe. Pepe refers to Pepe the Frog. This otherwise.
And for those of you who don't know, Pepe is a white nationalist symbol.
Anthony Weiner's alleged teen sexting scandal now getting the attention of federal prosecutors.
The New York Post published August 28th screen grabs from Weiner's Twitter account chatting with another woman and an image of him in bed next to his son while half-dressed and showing his crotch.
WikiLeaks posted more than 2,000 additional emails from Hillary Clinton's campaign chair, John Podesta.
A new possible investigation by the FBI into Hillary Clinton's emails.
Hillary's health was questioned as far back as her 2008 campaign, the deterioration only getting worse over the years. Many began to theorize Clinton was prone to seizures, with one infamous episode occurring at the end of the DNC. She's looking at those balloons like a starving Kasich to an all-you-can-eat buffet. Clinton was also prone to severe coughing fits.
Excuse me. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry.
To the point where she coughed up 3 balls of phlegm. Or she was laying her eggs.
Our mother is giving birth to us. This planet will serve us well. Oh, yeah.
There was also her collapse at the 9/11 memorial service, where she allegedly passed out due to a combination of the heat and pneumonia. Speaking of which, did we mention that a young child was allowed to hug Clinton despite harboring an infectious disease? When questioned about her health, Clinton proved she was in peak physical form by opening a pre-opened pickle jar on national TV. Notice the distinct lack of a popping sound.
You did get it.
At first glance, Anthony Weiner's sexting scandal doesn't seem like it would reflect badly on Clinton. But in case you aren't aware, Weiner is the husband of Huma Abedin, Clinton's right-hand woman. Weiner taking pictures of his wiener and sending them to underage girls is bad enough, but it was also discovered that a plethora of classified Clinton emails were being stored among the dick pics. Weiner's laptop was seized as evidence by the NYPD. A few weeks later, the white wizard Assange struck back with a huge batch of WikiLeaks emails from Clinton campaign head John Podesta. Since Podesta was stupid enough to have his password be password, it's a wonder that he wasn't hacked any sooner.
That they've just taken the unprecedented step of the Director of National Intelligence and Director of Homeland Security have said are at their root Russian hacks. So.
Among the email's contents included Hillary maintaining a public position and a private position, supporting open borders, receiving primary debate questions in advance, and a series of odd emails concerning pizza. The last topic garnered much intrigue, and many began to theorize they were code words relating to a child trafficking operation. Though Pizzagate, as it came to be called, was ultimately discredited, the damage was done. Once again, WikiLeaks damned Hillary's campaign. All of this served to Trump's advantage, as Hillary's series of misfortunes occurred around the time of the final presidential debates. Thus, he was blessed with a great deal of ammunition that he would wield against Clinton. But Hillary was a tough opponent. She was no Jeb Bush or Ted Cruz. She had everything stacked in her favor. Name calling wouldn't work as well as it did in the past. Hillary's allies also used their vast resources to do everything in their power to derail Trump. The biggest blow ultimately came from a leaked tape provided by Billy Bush, avenging his fallen cousin Quack Boy Jeb.
And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab him by the pussy. You can do anything.
Although they succeeded in driving away establishment support of Trump, it did little to nothing in terms of diminishing his voter base. As always, nothing they did truly stuck. To prep for the debates, Donald received debate training from Brexit proponent Nigel Farage. Trump and Clinton collided not long after, engaging in a series of verbal onslaughts against each other.
Next segment, we're continuing the subject of
I have a plan to fight ISIS.
No, you're telling the enemy everything you want to do.
No, we're not.
See, you're telling the enemy everything you want to do. No wonder you've been fighting. No wonder you've been fighting ISIS your entire adult life.
I have a feeling that by the end of this evening, I'm going to be blamed for everything that's ever happened.
Why not?
Why not? Yeah, why not? You know, it's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Because you'd be in jail.
Secretary Clinton.
Social Security payroll contribution will go up, as will Donald's, assuming he can't figure out how to get out of it. But what we want to do is to replenish the Social Security Trust Fund.
In between the first and second debates, Tim Kaine and Mike Pence engaged in their own debate in the form of a town hall. While neither candidate attacked each other with the blatant ferocity of their presidential candidates, the savagery of the Silver Fox was enhanced by his silent and less imposing demeanor, much like the quiet kid in the back of the class who delivers an epic roast to the popular kid.
Senator, you and Hillary Clinton would know a lot about an insult-driven campaign. It really is remarkable. At a time when literally, in the wake of Hillary Clinton's tenure as Secretary of State, where she was the architect of the Obama administration's foreign policy, we see entire portions of the world, particularly the wider Middle East, literally spinning out of control. I mean, the situation we're watching hour by hour in Syria today is a result of the failed foreign policy and the weak foreign policy that Hillary Clinton helped lead in this administration and create. The newly emboldened the aggression of Russia, whether it was in Ukraine or now their heavy-handed approach. Their heavy-handed approach.
You both have said Vladimir Putin is a better
Gentlemen, we're going to get to
than
Russia in just a moment, but I do want to get back to the question.
But in the midst, yeah, Elaine, thank you, thank you, Senator.
These guys have praised Vladimir Putin as a great leader.
How can they defend that, Senator? We do have that coming up here, but in the meantime, the
tactical nuke incoming!
Questions were
Senator,
about your running mates.
I must have hit a nerve here because.
At the second debate, which followed the Bush tape leak, Trump rebounded by not only apologizing for his words, but reminding the world of Bill Clinton and his sexual assaults on women by inviting 4 of his victims to the debate.
Do you ever look at someone and wonder what is going on inside their head?
Oh, shit.
The night after the final debate, both candidates attended the Alfred E. Smith charity dinner, where any 2 presidential candidates meet for one last time before the election. In what would come to be known as the Red Dinner, Trump, with the aid of the John Podesta emails released by WikiLeaks, verbally obliterated both Clinton and her allies one last time.
It's great to be here with 1,000 wonderful people, or as I call it, a small, intimate dinner with some friends. Or as Hillary calls it, her largest crowd of the season. I have no doubt that Hillary is going to laugh quite a bit tonight, sometimes even at an appropriate moment. In fact, just before taking the dais, Hillary accidentally bumped into me, and she very civilly said, "Pardon me." And I got the chance to meet the people who are working so hard to get her elected. There they are, the heads of NBC, CNN, CBS, ABC. There's the New York Times right over there, and the Washington Post. Hillary is so corrupt. She got kicked off the Watergate Commission. I wasn't really sure if Hillary was going to be here tonight, because I guess you didn't send her invitation by email. Or maybe you did, and she just found out about it through the wonder of WikiLeaks. Hillary believes that it's vital to deceive the people by having one public policy and a totally different policy in private. Hillary isn't laughing as much as the rest of us. That's because she knows the jokes. And all of the jokes were given to her in advance of the dinner by Donna Brazile. Everyone knows, of course, Hillary's belief that it takes a village, which only makes sense, after all, in places like Haiti, where she's taken a number of them.
All they could do was squirm and laugh nervously, trying not to soil themselves. Well, except this guy. He clearly needs to change himself. Both sides were drawing close to the end, and Hillary was certain she would win. Then came yet another death blow.
a new possible investigation by the FBI into Hillary Clinton's emails.
The FBI had exonerated Clinton back in July, but with the recent revelations provided by Assange, they took it upon themselves to reopen the case into her email server. Director James Comey closed the investigation the final day before votes were to be cast, effectively damning Hillary again. November 8th came at last. Anxiety and nervousness filled the air, both sides eager to see their candidate win. Trump and Clinton both cast their ballots at polling places in New York City before retreating back to their respective headquarters to await the results. That night, as polling places across the nation began to close and count the votes, each state was officially called.
Both wins, Kentucky and Indiana, for Donald Trump. We project that Hillary Clinton is the winner in Vermont.
Donald Trump wins West Virginia. Donald Trump wins South Carolina. Donald Trump wins Alabama. In Connecticut, Hillary Clinton, the projected winner. The District of Columbia to Hillary Clinton. NBC News projects that Hillary Clinton will win in her now home state of New York. And now we have a slew of Trump calls, starting with Texas, in Kansas, Nebraska, North Dakota, South Dakota, Wyoming, all those.
Clinton's supporters were ready and waiting to see the glass ceiling shattered yet again, but their hopes wore thin as the night wore on, and Trump received more electoral votes. The Donald won key states that were believed by pundits to be unlikely for him to win.
Donald Trump will take Ohio, North Carolina, Florida, Georgia, Wisconsin, Utah, Alaska, Arizona.
The AP now projecting that Donald Trump has won the state of Pennsylvania.
That is the race, frankly. There is no path forward for Hillary Clinton.
With these victories, Clinton's chances of victory evaporated in an instant. In the early hours of the morning on November 9th following Trump's win in Pennsylvania, Clinton conceded defeat.
Right now, a historic moment. We can now project the winner of the presidential race. CNN projects Donald Trump wins the presidency.
No one believed he would do it. No one thought he would last past the Iowa caucus. He knocked down 18 candidates and two of the most powerful political dynasties in the United States. He endured attack after attack for over a year, and not once did he falter. Donald John Trump ultimately emerged as the 45th President of the United States of America.
Sorry to keep you waiting, complicated business.
In the aftermath of Trump's victory, the MSM and left-wing voters entered a massive tantrum.
You're awake, by the way. You're not having a terrible, terrible dream. Also, you're not dead and you haven't gone to hell. This is your life now. This is our election now. This is us. This is our country.
I have no respect for women who voted for Trump, okay? I think so poorly of them, and the reason why is because, look, I don't think that you're a single issue voter. I just think you're dumb, okay? I think you're fucking dumb.
It has to be a joke. I do not believe this is happening. I'm literally about to fucking kill myself, and I'm not kidding. You better fucking fix this shit right now.
Protests occurred across the country, vain attempts to deny Donald Trump's rise to power.
Don't worry, Jacques. Soon God will exact his revenge upon us for our imperfections.
The internet, on the other hand, rejoiced at the fact that they somehow managed to meme a man into the Oval Office.
Think about in what the new Trump-led world here in Washington.
Wonder what Mr. Madon will be saying tomorrow.
The Clinton campaign and the MSM then concocted a narrative that would span long after Trump's win, one that would fade in and out of the media for many months. Since that's a whole saga in and of itself, here's a brief summary. Russia. Collusion. Russia.
Oh, for 5 minutes. Could you
Stop talking about Russia.
for 5 minutes?
Russia. For the most part, nothing too eventful happened in the interim between Election Day and Inauguration Day. But Trump supporters were slowly counting down the days until it was official. And then the day finally came.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
That I will faithfully execute.
That I will faithfully execute.
The office of President of the United States.
The office of President of the United States.
And will, to the best of my ability.
And will, to the best of my ability.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
The Constitution of the United States.
The Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
One year has passed since Trump officially became president-elect. In that time he has deported the illegals, brought back over 1 million jobs, rallied stocks to record highs, nuked terrorist groups into near oblivion, appointed a Supreme Court Justice in Neil Gorsuch, released the long-awaited JFK files after 54 years of waiting, reduced unemployment to its lowest levels in decades, and instilled hope in America's future. There have been many trials and struggles throughout.
A grand jury has been impaneled investigating the Russia meddling in the United States election.
President Trump announcing that for the first time the United States has taken direct military action against the Syrian regime.
North Korea is showing the world its new intercontinental ballistic missile.
But loyal Americans know Trump will persevere. After all, he did become president. The left still continues their tantrums, but the more they continue to silence anyone with a different opinion and vandalize the country, the larger the silent majority grows. There are still a little over 3 years left of Trump's presidency, but if we are lucky, it will be a little over 7 years before we finally say goodbye to the man who made America great again.
All embrace me. It's my time to